Welcome to my home office. This is where I probably spend most of my time during the day, doing normal work stuff that keeps me nice and occupied and busy, and keeps my head in a slightly easier place to manage. My very first video was called PTSD Warrior and his Dog Leffe, how to deal with PTSD and prioritise wellbeing. And I realised I put part one on there, so I suppose I better do a part two. I first want to speak about the name of the channel, and how I'm not trying to big myself up by calling myself a warrior. I nearly actually changed it to PTSD battler, but I don't think it sounds as cool. But it actually is how I perceive everyone who battles PTSD. I think they're all warriors in the daily struggle they have to deal with to just get through a day. And not just that, but the people who support them and are around them constantly. I think that they're warriors as well, because it's not easy, and it's definitely not easy for those who have to see it day in, day out. So that's why I came up with that part of the title. And obviously my dog Leffe is my dog Leffe. He's awesome. And what I wanted to do was just go through why he's so awesome for me, and also let you see a few pictures that I've picked up over the years of having him around. And of that there are many, so hopefully you can see now the images. So Leffe's not actually a support dog officially, because that requires paperwork and stuff, but he is. I'm not a massive pet person, never have been growing up, so Leffe was very much one of our first pets. We had a hamster before, but that doesn't really count. But he has this ability to know when I'm not really doing very well, and he'll just sort of appear and cuddle up beside me and nudge me and just be there. So he was very important to me, because in the beginning, when Colin was still working, he was my, I call her my rock. So he was what I called my Pebble, because he was there when she couldn't be. And I think I mentioned before that he has this really good knack of listening, but not understanding, so can't be broken. But there's pictures there you'll see of him curled up in my seat, because any time I leave my seat he jumps in there and steals my seat. I don't think he even abides by the 3-second rule. He probably doesn't understand the 3-second rule, to be fair. But yeah, he always makes me chuckle when he does that, every time without fail. And sometimes, he will do it and then he will intently look in your direction to see if you're looking or not. So I think it's become very much a game for him. He does enjoy it far too much though. And just the ability to look at that face when I'm having a shit day, is gold dust. I defy anyone not to love that face and get from it some level of joy. So he has naps with me as well. So I've mentioned before, I don't sleep as most people would consider it sleep. I have to nap, because I don't want to get to that deep sleep point where the control's lost and the images take over. So I'll often nap on the sofa, and he's very much like his daddy in the fact that he will curl up beside me, and he snores louder than I do. So that's that's always a Billy bonus when you can blame the dog for the snoring. The fact is that whether they want to be or not, dogs, and I suppose pets by extension, but I only know about Leffe and his abilities. The sheer knowledge that there's someone there, whether it be a dog or a person, is very powerful when you're in the moment of dealing with a terror, or in a moment of seeing a trauma. You have that anchor to reality, and just having him there and stroking him will keep me anchored in reality, and sometimes pull me back from going into a full flashback. And he doesn't know that, but I know that. And I'll be sitting here working, or just trying to distract myself and keep myself focused, and I just hear the patter of his paws on the wooden floor behind me, and he just looks up, and next thing you know, he's on my lap, getting in the way and stopping me from working. But I'd say to anyone who does suffer from anxiety, or depression, or any of those sort of mental disorders, look into getting yourselves. You don't need an official certified therapy dog or any of this. But if you can get them, brilliant. Well, go for it. But even just having a pet, someone who's there, whether you need them to be or want them to be, who will just turn up and has a requirement for you to give them attention, is a very positive factor in my life, and I would say that could be a very positive factor in your life too. So you can see from the pictures though that he melts my heart, and in so many ways he just evokes emotions that I don't regularly have, or without some sort of work to get them. He just evokes them without that extra effort that's required for me to do it, and that's why he's mentioned in the title, because he is a massive support to me. But it would be remiss of me not to mention the rock in my life, who without her by my side, I wouldn't be here making these videos and talking to you right now, and I know that for a fact, and not to dwell on that route that some people do go down, but self-harm and suicide is not something that has ever affected me, and I put that very much down to one, that there are positives to the work that I did, and I very much grasp onto those and keep those in my mind at all times, because knowing that I helped put some really horrible pieces of work away into prison and unmasking them to the world really does help me a great deal on a day-to-day basis. But the other massive positive in my life is this lady here, because she met me before all of this shit happened in my life. So she's seen me as I was, the cheeky chappy, the centre of attention, who was always first to make a joke and have a laugh, and she's seen the person that I've become thanks to, well, my previous employer, we'll call them, because just the mere talk of them angers me. So we'll call them my previous employer, who really didn't take care of what they had. But this photo here was us on top of the Eiffel Tower, because never let it be said that I'm not cliched. I obviously took her to Paris and climbed to the top of the Eiffel Tower to ask her to marry me, and for whatever reason she said yes, which enabled me to climb back in off the side of the Eiffel Tower because she'd said yes. But that's one of the strongest memories in my life is the moment she said yes, because I can still feel those emotions that I felt on that day, and the happiness that I felt then was immense, and not been known to either of us what the future would hold. I don't think the love that I have for her has ever decreased in any capacity. It's only ever increased, and the support she's given me over these last 10 years of dealing with the PTSD and dealing with my anger issues and my mood swings and the terrors and waking up screaming, all of that utter shite, and she's still here every day with me, supporting me, and never, I never doubt that. And this is my family. My world, my bubble, my safe place is there on that picture. It's not something that I would ever have wished on Colleen to have to deal with. She deserved so much better than having to deal with that, but the fact that she is the person she is and has stuck with me is there's no words to sort of be able to explain how I feel about her or what I would do to protect her in the world that we live in. And it's one of the main reasons that I don't go out very much and don't leave the house unless it's with her is more down to I feel like I have to go with her to protect her from the world and what I know is out there. And I know that's a very negative way to look at the world, but unfortunately when you've seen it, you can't unsee it, and you can't deny what does happen out there and the sort of people that do live there. So that was our wedding day. Obviously, I don't dress up like that just for any reason. Another memory that helps me get through a day to day. And photos, just photos themselves are something that you can use throughout the day to get you through. If you have those tough moments and you don't want to talk to someone, then just you get your phone out and you flip through your photo albums, and I can't help but feel a positive emotion when I look at that picture. In the same way that I've got albums that are filled with pictures of Colleen and Leffe, and I will go through them and remember those moments, like that moment there, but that we were at Penny Hill and enjoying a meal in the Latimer, and I have friends there who I stay in touch with, and I think about the times we've had there, and it helps, and it's something that everyone who struggles should do is remember those good times, because there are good times. I have a little saying that I use, which is that I don't have good days and bad days. I have bad days and good hours, and this though is one of those good days. So it helps me to remember that there are some of those to latch onto. But I am the luckiest man in the world when it comes to this relationship that I have, and I would never knowingly do anything to endanger that relationship, because she is literally my rock. She is my soulmate, and in a world and in a lifetime where your brain is your enemy and you suffer with PTSD, you need to hold on to these things, because it's very easy for the PTSD to try and drive these things out of your life, but you've got to do everything you can to fight to make sure that doesn't happen. And that's where I suppose prioritise and well-being comes in, that you you need to put the effort in, even in your worst moments when you can't be bothered to get out of bed, of which there are many. My saving grace is the fact that I can work at the minute, and I get up each day and I come to work in my office, which is across the corridor. I work from home, so I know that at the minute that's for me something I am able to do. But what happens when the day comes that I have to start not working from home again, and I have to start going out into the real world and deal with people again? I don't know is the answer. I don't think anyone who suffers any sort of mental illness knows what's going to happen tomorrow, never mind 2 or 3 months down the road when the rest of the world goes back to dealing with their normal lives, and they soon forget about the mental stress they were under when dealing with lockdown. Some of us are dealing with lockdown effectively every day, and have been for years and will do for years to come. So anyone who isn't suffering from any of those sort of issues, just remember this time when you went through lockdown, when you went through COVID, and remember that when you're 3 or 4 years in the future and you're belittling someone's mental issues, or not putting any thought into someone who might not be having a great day, and just try and remember how you felt during these times, because one thing about people's well-being is that we all need to take stock, and we all need to put our own energy and effort into making sure that people's well-being is prioritized. It's not something that we used to take a lot of time to consider. It wasn't one of the priorities for people to think about how others were feeling, or why they're not themselves, and why they're quieter than normal, or it would just be put down to just that's the way they were. But for people who do suffer but maybe don't have the fortune of having therapists and having access to medications or therapies or psychiatrists, there are things you can do. There's lots of resources out there, and hopefully I'll be able to post some of them on some of my social media platforms and talk about them on future videos. But I suppose I just wanted to take this time to just talk about those two big factors in my life which do help me, and hopefully it's something that you might be able to use to bring into your own day-to-day lives to help you. But as always, questions or comments into the comment section, or drop me an email, and feel free to share this and subscribe, so that I know that people are actually getting something out of it, and I'm not just talking to myself, which I do also. So yeah, thanks very much, and catch you next time.